IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And today with us for a second time, we have Raashi Malhotra. We just spoke to her on Tuesday about understanding food and understanding what are the blocks that we have to making the changes in our life that prevent us from taking it to the next level. Whatever changes we want in our lives, there's something that holds us back, that prevents us from going there. And if you haven't heard that episode, please do listen to that. We talk about many, many interesting things, understanding about our energy systems, understanding, things that are beyond us. And that was a fascinating discussion. Today, what I want to do is I want to focus on something else that Raashi talks about, which is visualization, manifestation, and these big words that get thrown around a lot. But I want to actually break it down and give us actionable steps that we can use to using them in our everyday life. So, Raashi, welcome to the Habit Coach podcast.
Thank you. It's so good to be back here.
Yay! Raashi, I'm super excited by the last conversation because I'm so happy we went into this world of energy. And like we were saying that, it is a little weird for some people to get their minds around because we're so structured in the way that we think about life in this physical body and the physical way. So many times when we think about, manifestation and all of that, obviously the first word that comes is that secret book. I've read secret book. I saw the movie also, right? And that's how people start thinking about it in the beginning. But how should people start actually using this or understanding this? What has your experience been with this whole manifestation, visualization, understanding secret, all of that?
Honestly, I've been doing this for about deliberately for about 14 years now, 15 years now. I've been manifesting my desires, and it's real. And as I mentioned in the last episode as well, you have to experience it to believe it. If you're waiting for evidence before you start believing in it, it doesn't work like that. And manifestation essentially comes from this law of the universe, which is called law of attraction, right? And the law of attraction very simply states that like attracts like, or more specifically, like energy attracts like energy. Right. And that's essentially what manifestation is. So all of us are anyways manifesting by default. So anything that you look at in your environment right now is a result of what state of being or what energy you are expressing from your body. Right. And so in order to change anything in your environment, you have to first change your energy. And then the environmental changes will occur. So the law of attraction very simply states that like attracts like, and more specifically, that like energy attracts like energy. Now, in the previous episode, we spoke about how all of us have an energy field. And so basically, the energy that surrounds your body is what attracts everything in your life. And that is what manifestation is, right? So we are anyways manifesting by default based on the energy we are projecting currently into the environment. So if you look at your life right now, everything in your life is a result of the energy that you're projecting. So if you want to change anything in your life or you want to attract something new in your life, you have to project a different energy. And your energy field is essentially nothing but a combination of your thoughts and your emotions. So we can't really see thoughts, right? If a neurosurgeon cuts open your brain, he can't see thoughts in there. So what are they? They are energy. In the same manner, if you cut open your heart, you can't see emotions. So what are they? They are energy. So your state of being or your energy field is a combination of your thoughts and your emotions together.
Interesting. So these thoughts and emotions gel together, and they are what basically, like you're saying, attract the things that you want into your life. So, let's take a live example. Just before this podcast started, a listener of the Habit Coach podcast wrote into me. Obviously, I'm not going to say names because of confidentiality. And she said something interesting. She said, Ashdin, I've tried all your things about waking up on time. I need to wake up at 6 o'clock because otherwise the rest of my day goes for a toss. I've tried putting my alarm away. I've tried putting something to do interesting during the day. Nothing seems to be working. So I said that, do you enjoy the life that you have right now? And she said, no, I don't. There's nothing that there's to look forward to. So I said, all right, maybe that's what we need to do to create and start. And she said, sure, but how do I do it? Correct? Now we're starting from scratch, right? Raashi, how would you take somebody on a journey like this? Now, what is the first thing that you should do if you don't even know where to start on creating the life that you want?
The first thing you need to do is get clear on what you want. Right? So connect with yourself, like really connect with yourself, sit with yourself. Like I said in the previous episode, create space for yourself on a daily basis. Spend as much time with yourself as you can. Right? And that's where you start, because till the time you don't get clear, the law of attraction cannot work. It cannot work as a deliberate creator. So you are, like I said, you're manifesting by default. So you can manifest deliberately and therefore create the life that you want. And that makes you a deliberate creator where you curate every aspect of your life. Right. So it's really essential to just get to know yourself. And like you keep saying, ask yourself, what is blocking me? And first you have to address that block before you can even go ahead and get clear on what you want.
Correct.
Right.
You said something so important, because what happens is that we live in a state of default, right? My this person wants me to do this, my that person wants me to do this. We're so stuck up in our duties and our entanglements that we don't know what we want. And very often this is the first step, because you ask yourself, what do you want? And you're absolutely blank. I don't know what I want. And if you don't know what you want, how are you ever going to get anywhere, right? Even when you want to go from Bandra to Kolaba and you don't know the route, you put in Kolaba, you put in your destination, right? Yeah. And then you allow for Google Maps to tell you how to get there. But you need to know the destination. You need to know what you want, just like you said that. So the first step is spending time with yourself, understanding and figuring out what it is that you want. Okay?
Yeah.
Then what would you end up doing?
So then I mean, seriously, manifestation works in a very simple way and you can break it down in steps. So if we're just getting into manifestation first, like if you're feeling stuck, that's not the energy to begin with. Okay. Correct. So you allow any energy that you are in right now to just play out. And then you start from a new space. And that energy, like I said, no feeling is final, it'll play out. Now, I want to take this particular example where the person is consistently trying to wake up at a particular time. But again, you are feeling very separate from your desire over there. So it is a lot of hard work. So nahi ho raha, chhod do na. Focus on something that will happen. Just focus on one thing that will happen. One extra glass of water every day. Build that momentum from such a tiny place. Okay. And then once you start building that momentum, then you will start feeling better. And in feeling better, you will get clearer. Because when you are in a stressed out state, even when you're in a state of blame, right, your body is under stress, which basically means you cannot reason, your brain cannot be clear, because when you're in a state of stress, your body is just trying to save you. So the blood is not going anywhere in your brain where you can receive clarity or answers or anything like that. Okay. So you have to first bring yourself to a calm space in order to even realize what that is. So whether that is just breathing for 2 minutes a day so that you can quiet your mind, it will help you get clearer on what you want. Right. So one is start small. If something is not happening, stop trying to do that. Stop making that your goal altogether. And take your focus on something you can do and start doing that. So start building your momentum there. And second thing is build a practice that allows you to quiet your mind. So like you said, staring out of a window, meditating, introspecting, whatever it might be, anything that allows you to connect with your heart more.
Lovely.
Yeah. And then going into the 6 steps, like into the steps of manifestation, the first thing is identifying where your desire is coming from, right? So now I've done this and I'm starting to receive at least some answer as to mujhe kya karna hai. And let me just make this very clear. Your desire doesn't have to be huge, like to build a multi-million-dollar empire. Even the fact that I want to wake up at 6 o'clock is a desire only. Okay. So your desires can be really tiny, and start with the tinier desires and start with a desire that isn't important to you, because that means you're more detached. So you aren't worried about the end result. So start with something that isn't that important to you, that you just feel like, haan hai to kar lete hain types. Okay. And the first thing is that you have to understand that it needs to be coming from a space where you have clarity ki this is how it's going to make me feel when this desire happens. Okay, so first identify that desire, get clear on it, and say, this is what I want. Say it out loud to the universe, write it in the journal, and get your mind clear on the fact that this is what I want. Because your mind is a tool that will help you achieve what you want to do. Okay, and then the second thing is focus on the feeling of having that desire. So once you've identified your desire, focus on the feeling of having that desire in your life. If it's here, how am I feeling? Don't focus on how it'll happen, when it'll happen. Focus on how does it make me feel. All right. And then the next thing is to embody that feeling right now. So act as if your desire is here. So a big example is that you want a life partner and you don't have a life partner, or you want a job and the job is not there, right? So act as if you've gotten that dream job. Behave like it. Instead of being in the mindset, ye to mujhe kabhi nahi milne wala hai, I'm not worth it. Behave like it and embody it energetically in your emotions. Ki it's done. I have this job. I have my life partner. Behave like that. And what does that mean? When you are behaving like that, your emotions are feeling that. Your mind got clear because you wrote it down and you said it out loud. You got clear on the feelings, so your emotions are starting to align, right? So what does that do? That impacts your state of being and your energy field. And once that changes, your energy field changes, then that desire naturally gets attracted to you. It starts coming to you. Now, the fourth thing I want to address is healing. Okay.
Before that, Raashi, can I ask a question on this? Because people will say if I am behaving like the desires already happen, is it faking it? Is it, how do we draw that line between that I'm faking that this is okay versus I'm actually feeling that? How do we know that difference? Because many times we have this fake it till you make it kind of attitude that people talk about. But is that what we're talking about, or is it something else?
No, we're not talking about faking it. We're talking about using the power of our mind and our emotions to already live the life that we desire. Okay.
So is it imagination?
Yeah, it's imagination, because your subconscious mind has no idea, or your mind rather, let's not make it subconscious. Your mind has no idea of time. So it doesn't know that whether you're having a thought or you're having an experience. So when you have a past memory, it believes it's happening right now. In the same way, if you imagine a future, it believes that future is happening right now. And therefore that dictates your energy field. So clear examples of this are, just to help people understand, that I want to lead a particular life. Okay. My goal is to ultimately be at a place in my business where I am only working 4 days a week. Okay. So that doesn't mean that I have to wait till I'm there to work 4 days a week. How can I embody that right now? What is in my control right now so that I can embody that? I'm still working only 4 days a week. I'm not waiting to get there to work 4 days a week. Right. So I'm embodying that energy. I am feeling like, hey, yeah, I'm in this space where I can work 4 days a week and still be successful. I define that for myself. If you want a life partner, right? If you want to go on a date, take yourself on a date. Embody the energy. Dress up for yourself. Take yourself on a date. Get yourself a glass of wine. Get yourself a nice meal. That's what I mean by embodying that energy. Yeah. And so that's essentially it. Your mind and your emotions need to align. And so that brings me to healing that I was talking about.
Raashi, let's quickly pause at this point because it's so important. I want to get back to this after a quick break.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you haven't been following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week, Storytel and The Whole Truth Foods. Thank you for supporting us. So a great bunch of episodes this week. First, let me tell you about The Note with Maruk Inayat. It was featuring Ashdin Owaisi. She spoke to the AIMIM leader to understand what the Indian Muslim voter wants and how his party is any different from the BJP. On Advertising is Dead, Varun spoke with Malika Sadani. Malika is the founder and CEO of the Moms Company. They discussed the science of motherhood. On Naan Curry with Sadaf and Archit, Dhananjay Chuck of the Edges and Sledges podcast showed up, so we did another crossover, this time with food and cricket. On Agla Station Adulthood, Ritasha and Ayushi talked to Gaurang Sangvi, head of digital business at DSP Mutual Fund. The episode has some logical and realistic advice, especially for millennials, on how to invest their money. Shunya One is back this week with Sheila Aditya and myself. We spoke to Anirudh Singla of Pepper Content this week. Really interesting conversation. Anirudh gave us some real deep insights into content creation and how they're thinking about different ways of creating it. Do check them out. Really fun show, really fun conversation. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
All right, Raashi, welcome back. We were talking about the stages of manifestation and you were just about to explain the fourth one to us.
Right. So the fourth thing is to allow yourself to heal, right? So if you have a desire and you're trying to embody the feeling of it, that's great. That is your state of being or your energy field vibrating at the frequency of your desire. However, a lot of people skip the healing step. And what people don't realize is that healing is required for unprocessed emotions. So if you desire a certain amount of money in your life, but your life experience has taught you that you only lose money. If you have not processed the emotions from the loss of that money, then those unprocessed emotions are still a part of your energy field. So till the time you heal them and address them, they will continue to interfere with the new thoughts and emotions that you are cultivating, right? And therefore, it's really important that if your journey leads you, if you allow it to, it will lead you to some sort of healing, whether it's through a book, through a coach, through a person, through a program you attend, a workshop you attend. Allow yourself to heal, because unprocessed emotions also show up in what you are manifesting in your life. Right? So you will notice that if you have a certain pattern with money, you will have that same repetitive pattern with money till the time you heal yourself. So this is not magic. It is your magic. And your magic starts when you connect with yourself and heal yourself and align internally. So whatever it is that is blocking you, you address that, and then that will start opening up your energy field even more.
So how would you go about doing this healing? Is it like going to a therapist? Is it going to like a financial consultant? Is it like, how would you actually go about doing this healing part?
So it's so different for so many people. There are so many methods of healing nowadays, like you have Reiki and you have XYZ, and like you have Reiki, you have therapy, you have coaches, you have so many things. You have hypnotherapy, and whatever you feel called to, whatever feels natural to you, and whatever you feel like, I believe in this. Because if you don't believe in therapy and you're like, I don't need anyone to help me, I can do this on my own, and you go to a therapist, it's not going to work for you because you've blocked yourself right there saying, I don't align with this, right? So whatever feels natural to you. Some people just process their emotions by running. So if all you need to do is run to process your emotions, do that. So healing looks very different for different people, and you are the best judge of what works for you. For me, therapy really helped. Therapy really helps. Studying and learning more really helps because it gets rid of so much of the ambiguity I have around concepts, right? So it really helps me heal. So how I healed myself from one of the steps of healing myself from my eating disorder was understanding nutrition and becoming a nutritionist myself. Because once I had clarity around food, I had no reason to fear it anymore. Right? So it's different for different people.
Lovely. All right. So fourth step is heal yourself.
Yeah. Heal yourself and continue to do steps 1 to 3, of course. And then the fifth step is detach yourself. Detach yourself from the desire. So forget you have it. Okay? Just forget you have it. And it's really difficult to do. I admit it's a difficult thing to do. But how you forget about it is by focusing on something else that makes you feel the same way that having your desire would make you feel, right? So the second you have a desire, the universe knows that you want it. It is already there for you to take. The only reason you have that desire is because you are meant to have it in this lifetime. Otherwise, why does Ash have a podcast and why does Raashi not have a podcast? And why is Ash's podcast successful? Why did he have this desire? Why was he led to this space? Because he is meant to be on this path. Maybe Raashi is not meant to have a podcast. Maybe she's just supposed to stand in front of hundreds of people and do public speaking. That's it, right? So your desire is unique to you. So you have to trust कि ये तो हो गया है. It is done. And so I am now just going to busy my life and I'm going to focus on the feeling of it being here. So you can do anything that allows you to be in that vibration or the feeling of your desire. Why does anyone ever want anything they want in life? Why do they want it?
Right.
Why do they want it? Because they believe they're going to be happier in the having of it.
Very
so
important.
If you can be happy now, then the desire is a bonus, right? And so when I say I will be happy when I have that desire, that's exactly what the law of attraction is saying. Ki if you are happy, then the desire will come to you. You have to match that vibration. You have to match the feeling. So if the emotion of having the desire is being happy, then just do whatever it is to make you feel better in your current life situation. Right. And I just want to say this, that happiness is quite unattainable. Like constant happiness is unattainable. As human beings, we aren't meant to feel constantly happy. But as long as you can reach for a better feeling emotion in the state of life you are in, if you're going through like a very troubling and challenging state, maybe you can just move from depression to anger. Anger is better than depression, because anger is still like, expressing your emotions. Screaming is better than just sitting in bed and not moving at all, right? You're stagnant there. So if from depression you can move to anger, and from anger you can move to frustration, that is still a better feeling. So that's what I mean by moving to a better feeling, right? You don't have to be happy. Like from depressed, you don't have to be completely like in a state of rapture. That's more a sign of being bipolar, and that's unrealistic. Okay, so just a better feeling emotion. It makes sense? Is that making sense?
Correct. And the start of point number 5, I wanted to give you a jab, because you first said that you figure out your desire. And now you then said, "Arey, detach from it." Love it.
Because that is essentially it, right? Surrender. Just surrender from it. And once you do that, right? Because why? Detaching is also easier because you're behaving like it's already here. Right? So if it's already here, why am I so attached to it? You are only attached to something till the time it doesn't show up. मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे ये चाहिए. The minute is there, अभी और क्या चाहिए? Right? So imagine it's already here. All your desires have the same frequency. So by default, by just reaching for a better feeling emotion in whatever state you are in, you are calling all of your desires in. Okay? That's a bonus. And then the last thing is to trust in divine timing. Now, what do I mean by divine timing? Divine timing means that the universe knows the right timing for that desire to enter your life. Because even if you think you are ready right now, the universe knows that you're not ready, right? Because if you were ready, the desire would be here. So the universe has a macro view of your life, and it knows कि अगर इस बंदे को ये चाहिए, then it will show up. But the point is, he has to meet 5 more people before this can happen. He has to go through one more challenge before he can receive this desire, right? Because that is only when it can show up in your life. So you have to trust divine timing and trust that it will come in your life at the moment that is divine and right, and that will completely blow your mind. Okay, so it's slightly difficult to do, but I really think that it's a really nice thought to think that the universe has my back, and this is going to show up when it's the right time. So the detachment and the trusting in divine timing come together, because in detachment you surrender the when and the how, and you release it to the universe. You release it to divine timing, because when you do that, then it plays out in a manner that is beyond your wildest imagination, because the human mind cannot even fathom, even in our wildest imaginations, it cannot fathom what the universe has in store for you.
Correct. And if I may tweak this a little bit towards the end, for the logically bent of mind who are saying that what is this divine timing? I don't want to have my entire life dictated by something else that I don't know and all of that. Another way of experiencing this or understanding this is 2 words: patience and experience. Correct? We can think about divine timing in a logical way of saying that all we are asking is give yourself that patience for it to appear, and give yourself enough experience for it to appear. There are many times in life when we just felt that, oh shit, if only this had happened 2 years later, I would have, been able to make the most of it. Correct?
Yeah.
That is when you either lost out on the patience or you lost out on the experience. And when you're talking about divine timing, it is not that feeling of swimming against the current, which is what you're talking about. Right? Yeah. In fact, we just did a podcast on this, I think, a couple of weeks ago, where I was talking about why you should not be swimming against the current, and said, how do you go with the flow, but know which direction you want to take your boat in? And this is exactly what it is about. Divine timing is one way of talking about it. But another way is, what is the patience that you're willing to give? Many a times, you just don't lack the patience. We might do the desire, we might do everything. You might say, okay, chalo, I've relegated myself, I've designed to it happening. 1 hour has passed, it's not happened. 2 hours have passed, it's not happened. 2 days have passed, not happened. This doesn't work. Correct? So this whole idea of patience is very, very important, because everything has to come together in your mind, and you have to grow to be that person that you want. And growing to be that person that you want is ultimately what this whole process is about. One is knowing what you want, and then growing into that person that can actually fulfill and hold that desire.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that is why life is only about growth and evolution. You are here only to play, have fun, and grow as a person. So the desire is coming to you because you need to evolve to be able to receive that desire. Life has planned it out so beautifully for you that you receive a desire and you're like, ye chahiye, and then you evolve to receive that desire. That's essentially what life is, growing. That's all we're here to do, learn. Correct. Right? And also to just give a different perspective that yes, sometimes we do believe that if this had only happened 2 years later. But just for people to understand this, everyone has experienced this, where sometimes if you look back, you say, thank God this didn't happen earlier. I can see why this happened right now. And you can really see how life is happening for you. You can see how your past experiences set you up for success right now, or how your past experiences just set you up for the experiences you're having in your life right now. Because if you removed even like 5 minutes of your life or any of the experiences from your life would not be the same.
Correct.
Right? I promise you that. So even in retrospect, you can just, so many of us have this feeling, thank God this didn't happen earlier. At least now I have the means to be able to do it, right? Correct. So there's another way of looking at it. And I know that the logical mind really asks for a lot, but manifestation has a lot to do with the heart. It has a lot to do with your higher self. It has a lot to do with intuition and living a life of trust and surrender. Right? So the more you try to think about it versus experience it, the tougher you're making it for yourself. Your mind is ultimately just a tool to gain clarity on what it is that you desire, and to be able to make it coherent for you that what it is that I desire.
Absolutely.
But it is not what is making it come to you. It is your emotion and your energy. So the more you try to break this down in logical terms, the more you are pushing yourself away from it. Just feel it. Just feel it. Focus on feeling. And how do you get your focus on feeling? Just check in with yourself 3 times a day. How am I feeling? How am I feeling? How am I feeling? You'll get in touch with your feelings.
Lovely. Raashi, how are you feeling?
Oh my God, I'm feeling great, but I'm also feeling relieved because this is the end of my day and I can't wait to take my makeup off.
Loving it. So Raashi, I love this whole discussion on manifestation, the 6 steps that you can take towards it. And I strongly urge everyone to try it out. If you don't know what you want, first think about what you want and then figure out these 6 steps towards getting there. Correct? Let's go through the 6 steps again quickly. The first one is?
Get clear on what you want and identify if it's really really something you want. Okay.
And that's a very important point that Raashi says. Half the times the thing that we want are because other people think that, it's cool. So we end up wanting it. But do you really want it? Like, that's the question that you are asking yourself. Do you as a person really want it? Or is it something that your in-laws said that's why you want it?
Exactly. And that is where your heart comes in. Because again, your heart is connected to your energetic body. Your energetic body is your authentic self. Your authentic self knows what you want. So it's coming from your heart. Right? So get clear on what you want. Like if waking up at 6 a.m. is not coming from your heart, but just because everyone else is waking up at 6 a.m. नहीं होगा. नहीं होगा. अगर तुमको 10 बजे उठना है, हो जाएगा. Okay? Okay? So get clear on whether this is coming from your heart, whether it's your authentic desire. The second step is get clear on the feeling of having it. How does it feel when it's yours? So examples of that is, I feel light, I feel happy, I feel aligned, I feel energetic, I feel blessed, I feel grateful, I feel like I'm flowing. Get clear on the feeling of it. The third thing is to embody that feeling right now. Do whatever it needs to take to embody that feeling right now. And if the feeling cannot be a complete state of rapture or happiness, that's fine. Just reach for a slightly better feeling. Okay. And my best example for this is relief. If you feel relief in any moment, that means that you are moving closer and closer to your desire. Okay. Relief is a great feeling to aim for in life. Okay.
Lovely.
Like if I told the person who's trying to wake up at 6 a.m. that you don't need to wake up at 6 a.m. to be successful and she feels relief, she's moving closer to her desire. Okay. Then the fourth example is, the fourth step is to heal. Allow yourself to heal. If you know that this pattern is showing up in my life over and over again, allow yourself to be taken to a space, allow yourself to be taken to a person or an activity that will allow you to heal and process the emotions of your past experiences. And then the fifth thing is move on with your life and focus on other things, because no matter what you're focusing on, your desire is already here and it will come into your life experience as long as you're feeling the feeling. And the last thing is trust in divine timing, because the universe knows better than you do.
Lovely. Superb. Thank you, Raashi, for this amazing podcast. How can people get in touch with you?
people can get in touch with me through my Instagram handle at Wellness by Raashi, or they can also get in touch with me via email, which is rashi@holisticdailybyraashi.com. But if they anyways go to Instagram, you already have the link to my website, and you can also book a discovery call with me, which is just a half an hour chat session where I get to know you and understand whether coaching with me is the right fit for you.
Lovely. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Yay!
If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome 180.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the three of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.
जिंदगी डायरीज के पन्नों में कुछ पुरानी यादें, समुंदर किनारे झूमते दरख्त, जवां दिल की धड़कनें और अनजान मुलाकातें हैं। तो आइए खोलिए मेरे साथ जिंदगी डायरी के पन्ने और साथ ही खुलकर जीते हैं जिंदगी। आप सुन सकते हैं जिंदगी डायरीज IVM पॉडकास्ट ऐप या वेबसाइट पर, या जहां कहीं से भी आप अपने पॉडकास्ट सुनते हो।